Hi, this is Spring is the Action. Here myself, Rowell.
I'm Nathan.
And we got our special guest from the Rocky Mountain Pro roster, Mr. Porter Blake. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. How's it going, gentlemen?
Doing well,
Really
thanks.
good. I just want to know how you've been since we haven't seen you since Rocky Mountain Pro's event been postponed. So what you've been doing since the quarantine lately?
Well, a lot has happened. So, went through school, went back to school for the semester, got that done. So, still looks like I have another year and a half, 2 years of school left to finally get my degree, but it is what it is. Let's see, it's been a lot of tape study. There's been some hiking in the Utah mountains a little bit, just because there actually are still some available there in the tail end of the Rockies. And not to be too white, but I actually did pick up baking a little bit, just a little bit. My wife's birthday happened during the quarantine, and her favorite pie is key lime pie, and I try to make it homemade, and it worked out well. And I played with it a little bit to come up with some other pie flavors. So, yeah.
Is there anything you like to do beside the wrestling category? What sports are you're interested doing?
Ooh, that's difficult because wrestling has encompassed the large majority of my life. But if I had to pick other sports, I really enjoy martial arts. I did Taekwondo growing up when I was younger. Trained a few different MMA sessions here and there for a couple of years after that. But I really love just the different martial arts styles, watching and learning different things from them. And then, I know for a time I was watching some Sambo stuff for that and everything of that nature, just to get different styles into professional wrestling.
Okay, anything you want to add that to, Nate?
So speaking of martial arts, did you have someone you look up to in that community that inspired you with wrestling and martial arts?
Boss Rutten. That'd be one. If you don't know who Boss Rutten is, there was a separate MMA company right before UFC called Pancrase that he was the heavyweight champion of. And in that promotion, in that company, you were not allowed to throw a fist at a face, but you could throw palm strikes. And Boss Rutten was lethal with them. And when people started to beat him in the technical game, he started to become technical, and he developed that side of it, and he developed the submission side. And he is insane to watch with his fights, just absolute ridiculous.
Nice. Speaking of which, now with the wrestling category is that we know that you're in the Rocky Mountain Pro. Is that we want to ask you what inspired you to like wrestling in the beginning? Who was your favorite wrestler that you grew up, becoming, a big part of this industry?
So I didn't discover professional wrestling until I was actually in high school. But when a couple of my classmates were talking about it, and it intrigued me, it piqued my interest, and I was like, I need to check this out. And I remember turning into SmackDown later that week. And I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. And then the heavyweight champion at the time made his way to the ring. Standing at 6'8" and you're 300 pounds, The Undertaker. And just, how the music goes, just the gongs and the smoke and everything that encompasses it. And him coming down in the long trench coat, the hat, and that big gold belt around his waist. And I'm just like, oh, this guy's different. And then you see this big man move like big men shouldn't be able to move. And you're like, okay, what is this world? I need to get into it more. And then it started from there. Did a couple of backyard trampoline matches with some of the guys. And then, which that's really funny to think back on. But from there, eventually I saw that there was a local promotion in my hometown. Went to a couple of those shows after I graduated high school. Me and a friend of mine, we worked together as lifeguards. And I was like, hey, if I get the info, would you want to hop in the ring and start training with me? He's like, yeah, sure. got the info, said this is where we train every week. This is how much it costs. Meet us up here. And next thing you know, we hopped in the ring and we were there. We just started.
Anything you want to add, Nick?
Yeah, that's great to have someone like that supports you along the way. You know, that definitely helps, motivate you to be what you want to do. And that leads to me, a question of, leading with your time in NXT. Like, what could you talk about if you had like your tryout experience with it? How was like, the training set? Was it rigorous? Was it demanding? Can you talk about a little bit about that?
Man, I don't know who blew up my time in NXT like this because I didn't really have a time in NXT. It was a one-time stint. I just got the chance to work a match. It was literally I contacted a certain individual who works there, Ryan Katz, someone that I love and respect, and he saw an opportunity, gave me the email to contact him, and I said, hey, I would love to come down, do whatever is asked. And he's like, here's our next taping. Can you make it? Yep, I'll be there. And I flew out there. I got there probably about noon. I got there before the talent even got there. So I was there for a long time. And just sitting there, and I got inside the arena there at Full Sail. And it's a smaller venue. And at first, like, I got really nervous. It was just like, oh, okay. It's a larger stage. A lot of pressure. But then, like, I kind of let that pressure settle in, and I was like, ooh, I'm here. Let's freaking go. I'm ready. And so then from then on, I was kind of like hyped for the rest of the night. And I got to work another Rocky Mountain Pro alum and Otis, which was pretty dope to be able to work him and Tucker Knight, which Tucker gave me one of the nastiest clotheslines I've ever taken in my life. Taking that, that clothesline about took my head off. Whew. Whew. But
so basically, you are fighting against the Heavy Machine arena.
Yeah, Heavy Machinery. Yeah, it was me and some guy from Florida, because of course it's a lot easier to get Florida talent for those kind of spots. But yeah, it was me and some small guy from Florida, and we get in this match with Heavy Machinery, and I just remember just getting manhandled by these two behemoths. And Otis, if you've ever seen him in person, he's not a tall guy, but he's built like a fridge with frickin' feet. It's ridiculous because he's short, stocky, and strong. It's unreal how strong that man is. And Tucker is too. Like, Otis might be the one that everyone's hyping on, but don't let Tucker sleep on you either, because Tucker's a powerhouse. Like, legit, I just remember, like, if you go back and pull up the clip, which I know you probably can find easily, it's one of the last episodes of NXT in 2019 or 2018. But he puts me on his shoulder and he just rams me corner to corner, what feels like forever. It was ridiculous. You even, like, go back and watch the video, you can see the lines coming across my back from the ropes. Whew. But no, I love the opportunity. It was a great time. I really enjoyed that match and just having that platform. It was a short time. I mean, I was only in that ring for combined 15 minutes probably that day, match and before the show. That was it. But that was a taste I really want to have again.
Yeah, we just wish one of these days, you might never know, NXT might call you up again and you might join the spotlight one of these days. But
you never know.
Yeah.
And the beautiful part is that there's not just NXT anymore. You have AEW that's out. Impact's doing a lot better than it used to, so Impact's going to have a place to be again. Ring of Honor, when that starts up, that's another place that helps out a lot of people. There's a lot of wrestling opportunities out there, but there's also a lot of people competing for those same spots. So that's the hard part.
Yeah. All right. Now back to Rocky Mountain Pro. Is that me and the boys, we first time we saw you wrestle in your career at that company, we want to take back and remember you were tag team partners with Chongo, and you guys used to be called Trigger Warning. What can you tell about that back then?
Trigger warning. That was a fun one. So this was back when Russo was working with Rocky Mountain Pro, and I had talked to him about, like, look, you got a stacked singles division, obviously. What about the tag team division? Let me help you out here. And I had proposed a couple of people for it. I proposed a different team, but then he looked at Chongo and me side by side and was like, you two look a lot alike. We're going to get you two guys together. And we got Dave in too. And it was a lot of fun because there's sometimes just being the roughnecks. They're just like, we're just going to beat the snot out of everybody. It's a fun spot to be in. And I feel like Trigger Warning in a way was a little shorter lived than it should have been. I feel like it could have lasted a little longer. But, you know, sometimes it's just the way things go. And it was a lot of fun. Chongo's a great guy. He's insane, but he's a great man. Love Chongo.
Yeah, because you had a great run. I remember that you got a good title run until things started falling apart when you had a great main event tag team championship on Milestone 8, I believe.
Yeah. Milestone 8 was us versus Hoodie and Anaya. That was a fun tag match. I really enjoyed working with them as well. Hoodie, ironically enough, was the very man I faced for my tryout match with Rocky Mountain Pro. I'd come in from out of town before I moved to Colorado, and I faced him one-on-one in a dark main at formerly known as the Rack House, now Bierstadt. But yeah, so I've gotten the chance to work him quite a few times, worked with Anaya quite a few times, and then, of course, combined it all together in a tag team match, and it's just great stuff.
Can you give me more specific of your character that time from the Mother Love from Russia? You know what I'm talking about.
Yes. The Siberian soldier, Vlad Balashov. See, I can still turn the accent on every once in a while. But yeah, so for you listeners who don't know, I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Most circles, that's known as Mormon. That's the common nickname. And I served as a missionary in Russia for 2 years. And it's from learning the language there and my love of wrestling that, of course, I combined the two and created Vlad Balashov, which actually is the name of another elder who served in that mission from St. Petersburg. So I adapted his name, had a little flavor of my own, and then, of course, the Russians are hard to be the good guys in wrestling, so here we are, the Siberian invader, basically.
You guys did pretty well as when you were as him, but now after Trigger Warning, they you guys did separate ways. You did work with the group with Cerrero Corrente, Bruce Waynes, and Samal Lockhart. What can you tell us about that?
The Triumphant, another group that I, again, reached forward and said, hey, let me help you with this. And, of course, we formed the Triumphant, and that was fun. Me and Bruce Waynes, like, even after the Triumphant broke apart, me and him still worked together as a tag team in Salt Lake for a time. It's always fun. Me and Bruce are definitely yin and yang when it comes to working as a tag team. He doesn't shut up. He talks the entire time, which is fun. Do you have any idea how many times I had to hold myself in from not bursting out laughing at the things he was saying? It was ridiculous. But, one of my favorite memories, and if you ever interview him, ask him about this moment. So one of you two take notes right now about this.
Okay.
This was so when after me and Wayans had acquired the tag team titles, and we were going one time, it was all four of us hitting the ring. Me and Wayans hit the corners. We go to pose holding up the belts. And this guy drops the belt. He drops it. And so I'm here holding the title up, and I'm just staring a hole in this man's skull. And then, of course, behind me, if you go back and watch the episode, it's hilarious because then you slowly see how then Simone notices from behind Corrente's shoulder. She notices. And then Corrente finally looks and sees, what is everyone staring at? And finally sees that Wayans is finally climbing back into the ring after having to retrieve the belt after it fell to the freaking floor. So all three of us just staring at this man. And he's like, I got it. We're good now, we're good. I'm like, you. It was so stupid. It was so funny. I still, to this day, we all give him a hard time about that.
Anything you want to add about what happens with his career with the Triumphant, Nate?
I think it was a cool one, just seeing you guys as seeing you as a heel again after you got rid of when Trigger Warning disappeared. I was curious to know what was next with your character, and you lined yourself with a great group of guys and Simone Lockhart. That was cool. I enjoyed that character, the Triumph. I'm sad it was a little bit shortly lived, but it lasted quite longer than I expected.
Yeah, and it was fun. And I think, part of the reason it ended is because I needed to stop being Vlad. And the reason why I needed to stop being Vlad was because it was becoming so hard for me to turn Vlad on. It was almost like an old game system, like a PS2 or something, right? Where it's like you've used it, you've played it for a long time, you're loyal to it, but like it's not going to be able to keep up. And in these modern days of wrestling, being a fake Russian is not going to cut the cake anymore. It's not going to do the deal. And I couldn't realistically look at having a full-time, potentially paying wrestling career as that character. Now, if I was legit Russian, yeah, like that never an issue there, but that's not me. It's part of my history of being in Russia, but it's not as engulfed in my DNA.
Yeah, it's not a part of it.
So I had to leave Vlad behind, and then actually led to one of my favorite singles matches was me as Porter Blake against Corrente. Or actually, technically it's my last match as Vlad. Was a singles match against Corrente. And it's one of my favorite singles matches that I've had in recent memory. Just because I knew Corrente, I knew what he does. And we were able to have a lot of fun with that. And one of my favorite moments was he had put me in the Tree of Woe, which he does with everybody. And he goes and runs. He does a thing where he stops and he's going to slap me. And I just straight throw it right to his face. As I'm hanging upside down. And I'm just like, yeah, suck it. It was great. I loved it. It's, again, one of my favorite singles matches against him. And it was fun wrestling Wayans later and also helping him get the best battering possible when they kicked me out of Triumphant. But
oh yeah, I saw that. And so what's next for Porter Blake? So with Rocky Mountain Pro, is your goal finding another tag team partner, or think about going for the Ignition champion, the Charge champion, or maybe Dustin Uric for the Rocky Mountain Pro champion? What goal you have in mind when things all clear out?
Well, when we get back to wrestling full-time at Rocky Mountain Pro, when we last left, I did have an active tag team partner in Corey Lyon as part of the Party Animals. Now, I'm always down to be a tag team guy, but honestly, singles gold sounds what's the word I'm looking for? Very desirable at this moment. And honestly, I've known Dustin ever since I've stepped foot in that company. So I would love to wrestle Dustin. I've wrestled him a few times as a tag team because, of course, he used to be part of Two Cool Dudes. Wrestled them quite a few times. So I would love nothing more than a singles with Dustin. I would love to take that championship off his waist and, help him shed some weight and, put a little bit on myself. Of course, if, Jumbo Zamora wants to go again for the Ignition Championship, I'll take it off of him. Line him up. I will knock him down. Give it all to me. I don't care.
Anything you want to add, Nate? What goals you have in mind for Porter Blake?
Would you think about wrestling down in the Springs in your future?
Hey, I mean, if someone's willing to reach out the hand and say, "Hey, we want you down here," I'm willing to oblige. But it's gotta be both ways. I'm not. It's for me right now. I'm currently living in St. George, Utah, which is 4 hours south of Salt Lake. It's an 8 to 10 hour drive from St. George to Denver. Usually, I'm just gonna pop into Vegas and fly. Let's be real. I'm not. I don't want to. I've done those drives. And those drives are beautiful, they're gorgeous drives, but flying is a lot faster and a lot easier. So, but I mean, it takes time for me to get out there. So it's not going to be a cut and dry like, oh, I'm going to definitely come and wrestle for you. It's like, let me get a little of my way too. You understand?
That way it's a
Yes.
win-win.
Last but not least, we heard that we've been seeing what you else doing beside your wrestling career is that is you're a gym instructor, fitness instructor, I believe. I saw you in your page recently.
Yeah. So I'm a personal trainer with Vasa Fitness. So I know you have a location in Colorado Springs. There's quite a few throughout Colorado. Yeah. So I've been doing that for it'll be 2 years come August, and it's wonderful helping people who don't know much about fitness, being able to help them understand more about how to use their own body and how to use different implements and stuff to better themselves physically, but also I find it helps a lot mentally as well, because oftentimes those sessions, instead of being just about their body, it turns into them letting their frustrations out with me and saying, this is what's been going on in my life. And I'm like, man, that really sucks. Like, and just, kind of being a consultant with them.
Yeah, I wish, you're the best for everything what you do. Wish I can just like see, being the instructor at a fitness, because me, I probably need to get back in shape, just see how you teach your classes how to get in shape and get out there and work your ass off, Yeah.
Right.
But
Well, I mean,
yeah,
here's the thing: is like they're not far away, and I know they're opening back up soon. So there's probably somebody there you'd like. You never know. So it's all a matter of going out and trying it.
all right. Is anything you want to add, Nate?
Yeah, before we let you go, can you tell people where they can find you? Like on social media with your character, like where to find you on Twitter and all that. And if do you have any merchandise coming, and if so, where can people buy?
Good questions. All right, so you can follow me on Facebook at PorterBlake-the Wrestler. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at PorterBlake8, because apparently there's 7 other Porter Blakes in the world. And then, of course, for merch coming up, I do actually have merch. I have tank tops coming in here soon because it's freaking hot, y'all. It's summer. No one needs t-shirts anymore. Let's air out things. Come on. Tank tops is the way to go. So I got those coming in. Those should be shipping in here. Should be here tomorrow, actually.
Sweet.
And then instead of doing shops or anything, I wanted to do business directly to start off with. So no pro wrestling tees or anything. You want a shirt, you want a tank top, reach out to me directly. Direct message me on either of my pages. And I'll, of course, once I get the shipments, commercial will go out, showing it off, telling everyone the price. And, of course, you can Venmo, PayPal, however we need to get transactions done, we'll get them done.
Anything you want to give a shout out? Let's bring us to action and all your fans out there watching this pretty soon.
All right, let's do this. Recording live. Sorry, Bruce Wayne stole it from you. But recording live for Springs into Action. I am Porter Blake. Make sure to tune in.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's Porter Blake from Rocky Mountain Pro Talents, and I'm speaking of myself, Roel.
And I'm Nathan.
Yes, and thank you for watching, and we're glad that you're here, Mr. Porter Blake, and thank you for everything you kind. And ladies and gentlemen, that's it for Mr. Porter Blake, and you're watching Spring is the Action. Thank you.